Welcome back to Days of Ruin, everybody. Next up is Mission 19. I've kind of been waiting for this one because, in the context of just this game, it's kind of a fillery mission. There's not really a lot of plot advancement, but for those of you who remember the Halloween video I made last year, I based it entirely on this mission. So if you want to go back and watch that and see if you can connect any of the dots to this mission, go right ahead and do that. But let's get right into it. Already I can tell you that the Days of Ruin mission title is a lot better. Salvation. It says a lot and yet says not very much at all. And the saved village just says absolutely nothing at all. So that's my opinion. So for those who did not play catch up and watch the rest of the playthrough up to this point, we have fought off Greyfield. We'll be relieved from his attacks for a little while at least. And now we are hearing rumors of a village that supposedly holds the secret to curing the virus that we've been dealing with this entire time. Yeah, magic. Magic might be unscientific, but then what are CO powers? Like, they never address what the science behind CO powers is. Which is why I kind of wanted to do that in Advance Wars Alpha. I kind of did that in my game. Well, we may as well go see if there's any truth to this, because if there is, it's a rumor worth chasing. So yes, it's just Salvation in Days of Ruin, but Salvation Village in Dark Conflict. Yeah, in this case, Days of Ruin knows to save a couple of letters when it's appropriate. You talk about magical cures, and yet Isabella kind of just magically got better when she was infected. Isn't that right? Yes, so say hello to the Fanatic, a one-off character. And apparently he worships something called the Worm in Days of Ruin, but in Dark Conflict it is a word that I cannot pronounce. But I looked it up, it is a species of nematode. So there you go. They worship nematodes. Oh yeah, that's an interesting point Lynn makes in Days of Ruin here. Like, where are the power plants coming from? Oh, then again, where's power coming from at all in this world? Because factories are still working. I talked all about this. Cities still have their lights, etc. 999 people. Interesting. Yes, Will. He probably is crazy. Huh. So yes, they have enemy units. I guess they managed to find a couple guns and a war tank that's low on fuel and ammo. Also, for some reason, Gage decides to take command of this mission, which makes absolutely no sense. This is the only mission in the game where you're allowed to play as Gage. Also, this line from Tasha is just stupid. But anyways, this is the only mission in the game where you're allowed to play as Gage, the indirect specialist. And guess what? This is a pre-deployed mission where you have no indirects. There is not a single indirect in this army, so I have no idea why Gage decides to take command here. I mean, it's not like Tasha would be any better. There's no air units. And there's not even a pre-deployed CO unit, so I really don't understand this at all. It's a complete waste of Gage as a character, because this is the only mission you play as him in, and it's the only mission he's in at all where, okay, so there are distance weapons of a sort. There are missile silos. They work the same as they've always worked in Advance Wars. And I guess it's worth noting that bikes can actually use them, so that's something. But yeah, I don't think you even have enough money to deploy a CO unit. Not that it would help much, it would just give all units a +10 attack and defense boost. But since the enemy has access to a couple of missile silos, the way we're going to play this is first we're going to spread out and use as many of the missiles as we can before the enemy does. So let's go ahead and launch the first. This group of units right here in the center, you basically want to hit this as soon as possible and reduce the stats on that war tank. It's really low on fuel, it's completely out of ammo, and it has only 10 fuel, so I guess you could just run around the map and eventually cause it to run out of fuel and stop moving. But, let's see here. I want to be able to get to as many silos as possible before they do, so Bike's gonna move over this way. And infantry move in position to launch the second silo. The good news is, it doesn't matter how many HP you have, you can use the silo no matter what, so long as you reach it. And, I need to be careful here. The tank, unfortunately, it's probably going to get, hit with the silo, because the way the AI targets with the silos, they always aim for where they're going to cause the most money amount of damage. I don't think that's changed in Days of Ruin. So I think this recon can come all the way up here and just whack this first unit. I want to get rid of these guys before they think about taking this silo, but they probably won't be able to get to it. Go ahead and capture this, and I'm going to... This Bike is probably going to stay here. I'm going to just let it sit there so that it can be CO'd on the next turn. In fact... but if the enemy launches the silo at the Bike itself, then it's going to drain my funds repairing it. So, tank, you do as much damage as possible before you... Wow, that's insanely unlucky. It went from 4 to 3, and the damage thing said 18%. Oh well. Right, and before I forget, on turn 2, I'm going to look at the tactics. But hey, it's Davis! Cameo by Davis, for some reason. His text is almost exactly the same in both versions. But he's most definitely gone completely insane at this point. Because it's very clear that the enemies in this mission are all basically cultists. And Davis is insane enough to fight for them. Like, the theme of this mission is that the people that are fighting for the cultists, they're so desperate for a cure that they'll believe, like, just about anything that the fanatic tells them. Which is really unfortunate and kind of realistic, to be honest. And he's most certainly not going to listen to Will at this point. Days of Ruin does a good job cranking up the Insano-meter. So yes, the missiles are basically both going to the tank and infantry in the center. That's why I wanted to make that attack before... I got damaged. Alright, so as soon as the chaos stops for a little bit, let's look at the tactics. Oh no, it's these two. 100 million proud Zephyrians. Ah, this is the last mission where Tasha is going to do the advice. Well, I'm kind of thankful for that, actually. Wow, this just went, like, full anime, didn't it? Oh, I didn't read Gage's line there in Dark Conflict. That was a pretty long line for him. There's only one enemy... Oh, there's more than one tank, of course. There's one war tank. Yeah, this is so filler that they don't even have any real advice for the player. Alright, now that that's over with, getting back to this mission, I think the first priority is to launch the remaining silos. Let's see, I can capture... do I need to capture? I think I've got enough money for the CO unit now. This is only going to give, like, plus 10 attack and defense to all of my units because, for some reason, they don't put any artillery in this mission. But no matter. Oh, this big brain tank has blocked the bike from getting to the silo. But it won't stop me from launching this one, and what do I hit them with? I think I'll hit these. Because the tanks are pretty difficult to deal with. You don't have a lot of units that would normally fight off tanks. I've just blasted myself in Days of Ruin. Well, that's embarrassing. That's very embarrassing indeed. Well, it probably won't be too much of an issue. Yeah, I guess some people, like, there's more than one person on this planet who will accidentally hit themselves with a silo, am I right? Let's see if this does any damage. No, unfortunately. But it was enough to finish off the war tank, so that's a good thing. Let's get you over here. Yeah, that little blunder is going to make things a little bit difficult, but I'm sure I can handle it. Forget about capturing. I'm just going to level up units as much as possible, because I think I need every little bit of firepower that I can get. I mean, the CO doesn't provide any firepower at all, so might as well play it that way. That's that. So I wanted to also mention that the Fanatic is one of the new playable COs in the ROM hack of Days of Ruin by Igalau37. I need to find a better name to call him by. Yep, they need his lies in order to not lose hope. These lines are going to be so weird if anybody takes them out of context. Of course, the real reason that everyone should probably face reality is that reality eventually catches up, no matter what, no matter how much you try to, like, deny it and stuff. Alright, so let's try and fix the problems that I've caused by hitting myself. This is the last, well, there's one more missile. So, I probably want to hit the mechs up here. There's a mech. Oh, and the enemy also has some comm towers. That's also of note. So I'm gonna just hit the mechs here because, like, they're not normally a huge threat, but I have so little units that I probably want to just blow them up as soon as possible. And, same for this tank. With that out of the way, we can keep moving. Now, I guess I could just advance over to the HQ. There's not a whole lot left to stop me up there. Okay, so go ahead and do that. And yeah, I don't anticipate a good rank at all. So let's go ahead and have that unit recover. I have to play these as individuals instead of at the same time now. I actually lost my tank in one of the two games. How do you like that? So yes, a very filler mission. There's just really not a whole lot going on, but I suppose that's a nice respite considering that the next mission, not nice to beginners, let me tell you. I mean, I could probably clear it pretty easily, but when you don't know all of the ins and outs, then it gets tricky. So I may have gone in a little too deep. So what can we do here? First, get rid of... Darn it! There we go. That's better. I have to play these as individual games now. Come over here. So yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. The one mission that the indirect specialist is in, and there's no indirects for him to use. I mean, like, who thought this was an interesting level idea anyways? It's really nothing but an introduction to silos. This should have been placed, like, way, way earlier in the game, if you ask me. Because, like, this difficulty is about on par with some of the tutorial levels. I mean, it's fine for world building, I guess, but... seriously, you can clear this in, like, 5 turns or something. Something really low like that. So yes, Gage isn't going to get anywhere close to using his CO power, which makes him yet another wasted CO, because he really just didn't do much in this entire campaign. And I gotta be honest, like, being able to choose what CO you play as would fix the problem with all of the wasted COs, because at this point in the story, there's like 5 valid options for COs that you could pick. Or like at least 4, rather. Like, I don't know if they would seriously let you play Isabella in a campaign mission, but if you're gonna make a CO out of her, then you probably should at least let her be playable at some point. And I'm not even against the idea of Davis the Beast or even the Fanatic being playable COs. But I'm just rambling because there's little still going on in this mission. I'm just going to... yeah, all that's left is to take out that last unit, and it's kind of a fair distance from us, and it's going to be slow to get here. So I'll just, yeah, should I blow him up, or should I, actually cap the HQ? I think I'll just blow him up. Now, if I can. Yeah, I should be able to. That's that, and that's that. That still took longer than I would have liked. And only in A rank. No, the S rank streak is broken. I probably attacked way too often. Like, the power score now depends on the number of attacks versus how much damage you did. So, if you attack too many times without getting a lot of KOs, then that's gonna hurt your power score. So yes, it turns out that the worm is, the worm, as it turns out, is just a worm. Like a literal worm. Yes, an earthworm, to be precise. And in Dark Conflict, they just say a little insect. I don't know if worms or nematodes are actual insects. Do they have 6 legs? Well, that was a waste of time. Yeah. There is a U in surrender, though. It's the second letter. But he can tell a good joke. That's a promise. Well, at least Dr. Morris gets his moment. Yeah, I wonder if he could be a CO2. Well, Brenner already had the healing CO power, so I guess it doesn't really matter too much. Uh-oh. I think we knew by this point already that Lynn was infected, but now she's showing a symptom which is not good at all. Yeah, not very comforting at all. Wow, Lynn has emotion, who knew? Yeah, more words in Dark Conflict. Alright, Mission 20. The mission name has already given away who we're fighting. Oh, Dark Conflict does not give that away, however. Instead, it's just the generic mission name. Well, here we go. Mission 20, Waylon Flies Again, known simply as Counterattack in Dark Conflict. That was disappointing to find out. They didn't even put the guy's name in the title. You know, I sure hope you, well, I guess there's no way for them to, test the vaccine before they can actually use it. Do you mean he has the vaccine or the materials needed to make it? 'Cause, why would there already be a vaccine? We are literally working on trying to make one. That's weird. Well, it looks like our next step is to just finish off Greyfield. I'm down for it. So what are those two up to anyways? Yes, we have more AI-controlled blue units in this mission. Wow, he's still on Greyfield's side? I don't get this guy at all. Like, he should have ditched Greyfield for sure by now. In fact, I think Waylon once mentioned that he gets paid by Greyfield. Money still has value in this world? Okay, enough of that. Let's get to the mission. First things first, I'm gonna look at the tactics. Yep, guess who's gonna give us advice on how to beat him? Yeah, it's a good thing it's neutral ground. Like, non-canon neutral ground. Ah, so it's Isabella who's giving the advice after all. Okay, never mind what I said. Alrighty then. So, as I said, this mission is not nice to beginners, because a beginning player is not going to know how the AI works, and they're not going to know, like, what the best movement through this map is. It's a very interesting map. You start with no factories at the start, so you have to capture them, which is what I'm going to start by doing. And you have to play with the blue units, which means you're relying on the AI being not terrible. And you know what else, actually? The blue units are being controlled by Tasha instead of Gage, even though Gage would be very helpful here because he has 2 missiles. Those are indirects, and there's no air units for the blue units to use either, so this is all... You know, I don't know what's up with the Lazurians. They just get spat on by the developers so very often. Alright, so the first step is to get away from that wad of incoming air units. And capture a couple of properties to get some money going. You actually get plenty of money, so once the airport is under your control, you're going to have a lot of goods just waiting to be spent. But on these first couple of turns, you really can't do much. One of the missiles always stays at the HQ, the other goes after Waylon's units. You want to retire to your burned-out mansion. Well, I'm sure that's very luxurious. Alrighty, so what have we here? Let's see how we moved. I moved about the same in both games, so that's fine. Go ahead and capture this. I'm only going to play these 2 games simultaneously until like the 3rd turn, because I know that that's when there's some dialogue, and then there isn't any more dialogue until the end of the mission. So yeah, I actually played this in advance. So I figure I should probably do that from now on, because the missions are going to get tougher and tougher. They're avoiding the anti-air range, so I kind of just have to capture stuff, and then once the 3rd turn comes up, I guess we start getting some missiles of our own going, or something like that. You gotta remember that blue takes their turn immediately after yours. So, anytime an enemy is available for them to shoot, you probably want to let them take care of it. Well, I'll be dipped in nacho cheese. That's so silly. Yeah, Waylon sure seems happy to kill people. He's got girls now, too? Okay, then. Where are these guys getting food from? The sun has been blotted out by the dust from the meteors, so they don't really have sunlight for... You know, actually, they're probably living off, like, surplus stock from places. I don't know. I mean, like, these are questions that you don't really have to answer in order to tell a compelling story, but, you know. Praise Greyfield. Wow. I actually think that was not such a good line from Days of Ruin. That's such a weird thing, even for Waylon to say it. Like, it's not like the guy is working for Greyfield because Greyfield is such a great guy. He does this because he gets so much of the fringe benefits, I guess. You little sack of crap. That was a good one, though. Not in this game, Waylon. Alright, with the pleasantries out of the way, I think it's time I switch over to just playing Days of Ruin, because I know this is going to take a while, and I do not want to, like, mess something up, because I'm trying to play two things at the same time. So here we go. I can finally focus on gameplay. So, the bomber has already done a number on my anti-air. We definitely want to make more of those as the game progresses. So, let's see here. Will likes ground units more than he does air units, so I think sticking to ground units for a while will be the best bet. I don't need to attack this Duster because the Lazurians are going to shoot it with their missile on the next turn. Can they... They unfortunately cannot reach with this anti-air, so that's sad. If I attack now, I'm probably just going to lose that unit completely on the counterattack, so... I don't know, let's try and get the bomber into a good position. Like, I could come down to here, for example, and I'm hoping that the bomber will go for the anti-air on the off chance that it gets into missile range, but there's no guarantee of that. So we got plenty of money, and I'm not spending money on an air unit, by the way, because there's so many fighters and dusters that would be a very poor decision. It would just be wasted money. They can just one-shot any air unit that I create right now. I mean, they've got 3 fighters. Right, so now the bomber is in a pretty good position, I would say, to be obliterated. There we go. And this missile can attack this copter, which is very good. I don't really need to hit it with my own anti-air, but I think I should hit this Duster, because the missile can't hit this Duster, and the anti-air can. Right, so capture this too. It'll take a while to get that one, but that's fine. I'm going to get this infantry out of the way so the Lazurian anti-air can shoot at it. Then all we need to worry about is... I have not CO'd a unit yet. I should really do that. I'm gonna... See, there's not much in the way of enemy air units. There are some ground units that I would probably like to not have to deal with. The tricky part of this mission is that ground units have to go all the way around this mountain in order to get to the place with the roads, unless they like come down here, but that's not the first base that is available to you. So I'm going to CO that medium tank. Alright, so all the air units are gone except for the fighters. I would love to take those out and then be able to use air units of my own, but I really don't want to commit the money to that right now. There's a bunch of units going for the center there. So we go up here. I'm going to try to get some healing. The enemy is probably just going to blow me up. With this factory under our control... By the way, they're called factories officially in this game, so as not to confuse them with other cities, I guess. They were called bases in the Wars World games, but now they're officially factories. They were called bases before to not confuse them with the Black Hole property. Anyways, you know, at the very least, if I do get a missile here, it will keep the fighters. The fighters will want to stay away from the airport because they will not want to get into missile range in order to blow up any air units I produce. So that's something you can also do. They're not moving in. I don't know why they're not moving in. This is the perfect opportunity to move in. But oh well. Also, the fighters... I don't know what it is about this game, but units seem to run out of fuel all the more quickly than in the other games. Even though the fighters, they still start with 99 fuel. I guess they've just been moving around so much. Oh, my missile could actually blow up this copter, but I think the Lazurians have it covered. So that's fine. And I could even shoot this thing down, but I'll focus on the infantry. And what do we want now? Mechs would actually be pretty good for getting them over the mountains. So they're pretty inexpensive though, so I think I want to be a bit of a spender at this point. And bikes over here in order to capture these other properties faster. Also, it's okay for them to occupy your cities, the blue units, because, again, I'll remind everybody that they get refueled at allied cities in this game. And the fighters have actually... See, the missile might not have been able to shoot anything down, but now the fighters have ran away and are now stuck here, because they're not going to go anywhere else. They don't really have anywhere else to go where they wouldn't get blown up by a missile, so even as a sort of scare tactic, the missiles are proving to be effective. And this fighter, I don't know if it's going to reach the airport before it runs out of fuel. It might. It might not. So let's stay right there. This is pretty good coverage of the airport. So now comes time to test the enemy's units. Will they be crazy enough to actually... Actually, I'll keep the anti-air here just as insurance. Are they going to try and blow up a T-copter if it means they will be in missile range? Let's see what they do. Tasha takes her turn first. That's pretty good. See, the blue units have been very helpful in this mission, unlike in the mission with Brenner, where they just waltzed right into artillery range. So yes, they did absolutely nothing, so your air units are basically free. And again, the reason this is a very unkind mission to beginners is they would not know to try something like that. I'm actually not sure which game has the better AI, Days of Ruin or Dual Strike. Like, they both have their advantages. Right, so the troublesome part is that we now have a war tank that is bearing down on the Lazurians. So, now that the fighters over here are trapped, I think I'm going to... Get over there, please. I think I'll just let them run out of fuel at this point. But now that our air units are able to move relatively freely, let's I'm going to drop just in case they decide to shoot. So, now we can start letting loose with the bombers, I think. I think we're safe enough to do that. And mechs are good too, because they can cross over the mountains and deal with threats that come up. So the fighter will refuel, so we have to keep that in mind, and Waylon has a bomber now as well. He hasn't deployed a CO unit. I think the AI only ever deploys CO units on units that would be beneficial to the CO, so he might put himself into the bomber. Who knows? Right, so bomber will... Now the bomber can move forward as much as it wants. And just getting the rest of the money. There's probably no real reason to do that. Like, I don't need that much money, do I? Let's have another bomber and an infantry. I have no idea why Tasha decided to do that. That was a very weird play. Anti-air versus anti-tank. Okay, so he put himself in the fighter. That's actually not too bad. I guess I have to stop with the, I guess I have to not produce as many bombers as before. But this just made my plan of sneaking in infantry over here like it's classic Advance Wars a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to at least blow up the war tank. And then we'll see if Waylon is man enough to actually shoot me. Because I got lots of anti-airs, I got the missile back here. And at least the T-copter will be safe surrounded by infantry. Weird as that may look. Alright, not enough money for another bomber, so let's get some less powerful units going. That captured. And this captured. We have almost all of the cities in this area. Can Tasha do anything at this point? I think she's more or less fulfilled her role in this battle. Oh, the bomber is going for the CO unit medium tank. That was unfortunate. I got caught. I got caught overextending. But as you can see, the fighter is very scared of approaching. I guess that's why they call Waylon's theme Flight of the Coward. It's very appropriate at this point. So let's see how far in I can get. And I suppose some fighters of my own are more than warranted at this point. I need to fend off those air units somehow. And the bike is going in too. Capture this. And these infantry, I don't know what they're going to do. Yeah, she's pulling out. I guess it's more or less over for her. Oh, they're actually attacking my fighter that I just built. That's very weird. These are some weird movements. Alright, but we have the opportunity... She's blocking me from hitting the T-copter. That's actually really bad. Thanks a lot, Tasha. Well, as you can see, Waylon's air units are very defensive in this game. So... Oh, they actually went into missile range at this point. But they were so low on fuel. I bet they were so low on fuel that they figured, oh, I better just do as much damage as I can. Because I'll be gone in a couple of turns anyways. Which means that if I had waited a few more turns, then they would have been gone and I wouldn't have wasted 20,000 on a fighter, but I don't know. So these mechs, I want to blow this thing up. I need to. The mechs are probably going to be useful against the ground units, but who knows where the T-copters can go. They're not super safe anywhere. Maybe I can get them up here. Go there and there. Probably going to take a little bit longer than I was planning. Good job, Tasha. You shot down the T-copter. You needed to do that. I hope it's not game over if blue runs out of units. Oh yeah, I need to redeploy the CO unit as well. Again, she's blocking me from being able to get to this bike and get through. That's very, very awful. I need to get to the CO unit and blow it up, because he's actually gaining some power at the moment. Alright, so let's blow this up and start capturing. So yeah, it doesn't look like I'm going to break through for an HQ capture or anything, so I'm going to blow up the... Well, I'm going to try to blow up the anti-air. Yeah, I guess I took too long in actually deploying an Air Force. But now that I've got an Air Force going, I think this will be a little bit nicer. Let's CO the infantry. I need to CO some kind of unit. Okay, I think that's really all I can do for now. If there was a second anti-air there, then at least Tasha would have been able to finish off the CO'd fighter. But at least Waylon's on the retreat now. This isn't like a super difficult, impossible mission, but as I've said, it is not kind to beginners. At the very least, blow that guy up. And damage the bomber somewhat. And then maybe... Well, I've blocked her now. Actually, you know... I could have had Tasha finish off the bomber, but that's fine. Okay. I don't think I need many more fighters, so... Infantry here. You know, it would actually be really useful if you could control the blue units directly. Then they wouldn't be able to make mistakes like that. But I guess the game is trying to make a point. I do not want Waylon to use his CO power, because if he gets his CO power, then let's remind everybody what that is. Boost defense for all your units. It makes them nearly impossible to damage. But boom, I've shot him down. So that's a good thing. I don't really need any more fighters, so I'm going to switch back to bombers. No, shoot at it, please. Thank you. He's built one fighter, so... Let's see if he's lured in by the prospect of shooting at will again. Well, that's more than I expected out of Tasha, so that's something. I made another CO fighter. A CO fighter might be extremely, extremely defensive, but the problem is that it can only really shoot at air units. In his position, I would have made a CO Duster instead. Okay, you can get wrecked. And go ahead and wreck this guy too. Attack his CO units? No, that's probably not going to do a whole lot. But there's really nothing else for the fighter to attack right now, so nah, I'll keep the fighter where it is. I want to protect the T-copter. Does Waylon even have all that much money at this point? He only has 14,000, so eventually the player can overcome Waylon through sheer numbers with all this money. Again, Tasha? Ugh. Well, at least she will shoot at him. She's got one shot of ammo left. Yeah, I never expected her to get in the way like this. It's very weird. And he has no other air units, so I'll weaken it. Hopefully this is enough for... Tasha's got a veteran anti-air. This is definitely enough to finish the job with. Something popped up on my computer, and it doesn't seem to be over the screen, so that's fine. That was a bit of a scare, though. Something pops up on my computer on occasion. Okay, so now I just run him over with bombers, I think. Oh, jeez. This is the one weakness of the bike. Look at this. It cannot get through this row down here at all. It cannot get through that choke point. Alright, so Tasha was able to finish him off. That's why he had no money. He spent it all on the CO unit. Okay, I think it's time to make a move on the HQ. So you explode. And... oh, I've still got an anti-air here, so I can get rid of this unit. That was actually pretty important. T-copter's got a decent amount of fuel. I think the Days of Ruin gives the low fuel warning a lot sooner than it would in the Wars World games. It's an interesting thing to think about. So this has been taking some time, which is unfortunate because I have to play this again in Dark Conflict. Well, this did not take nearly as much time in the test playthrough I did. I guess I must have forgotten what kind of strategy I was using. And yes, the AI is entering its spam anti-airs phase. Also not good. But I think we're pretty much... this anti-air is almost out of ammo. Well, it is out of ammo. So let's just join these. Maybe I should have moved this missile. I don't really think I would have. Oh boy. Well, at this point, I think it's safe to admit that I probably could have played a lot better. But I'm almost to his HQ now, so we're almost in the clear. I wish he'd gotten something weaker than a medium tank there. Should probably be thinking about trying to transport something a lot better than an infantry. Here, T-copter. I'll attach my CO to a T-copter for fun. How about that? Don't attack the infantry. Please don't. Of course it did. Well, I think I can safely conclude that I'm basically safe at this point. Because I should be able to join any units that are about to run out of fuel before they actually do. I'll keep this fighter over here as a blocker unit. And he's almost out of units as it is anyways. Oh, there's like one artillery down here to make this take even longer. How about that? This is a much longer cleanup than I was expecting. Okay, so that unit's gone. That unit is gone. This unit is being a pain. And that bomber's out of ammo. So it's literally just this one artillery down here that is being a pain right now. I almost think I should cut out some of the time spent on this, because give me a break. It's literally just this one artillery that is making it take so long. Okay, I can do this, and maybe Tasha will... she won't finish it off, but... if I place the mech here, then I will definitely finish it off on the next turn. Or she will finish it off. Isn't that nice? Tasha actually did it. Alright, so... geez, that is it for the Days of Ruin version. I'm gonna go play Dark Conflict and, hope that it doesn't take over 20 turns this time. See you later. Well, I'm back. Things got a little bit wild. As you can see, I have managed an HQ capture. I think it was just a tad faster than the Days of Ruin version. And you might have also noticed Tasha's remaining funds in Days of Ruin. I guess I should have took that as a sign. Oh, this rank is going to be so low, but the mission is finally done, and the game unfortunately only gets harder from here on out. You know, Waylon, if there's nothing worth fighting for, then it begs the question of what you were fighting for this entire time, I suppose. Oh boy. Ed, you just talk too much, I think. Wow, that was an S rank despite how poorly I played it. Yeah, A rank in the Dark Conflict version. I guess at the end of the day, this mission still throws me for a bit of a loop. I just got complacent and started spamming bombers like a good player. And by good player, I mean bad player. So that just leaves Greyfield. Now, where could he have run off to? How do you know there's someone in that building, Isabella? Ah, look who it is! This is a surprise. Dr. Calder, he introduces us as. He's researching CO powers. Yes, the apocalypse is a very happy time for villain characters. I think Will's just in shock because that was the freakiest thing he could have said. Fascinating. Yes, that's where his catchphrase comes from. And now he's just laying down the fact that he's been funding all of our enemies this entire time. The Beast, Lazuria, and presumably now Greyfield. Like, I'm not even sure why he's making this speech to us in the first place. Just outing yourself as a villain. It is kind of strange for him to just, like, lay down his cards, as it were. Like, which actually maybe this does make a teensy bit of sense, considering something that gets revealed in the final mission, but that's a ways off. But this is very weird. But he most certainly has some connection to Isabella, so that will be interesting to find out more about. You're gonna need a lot of notepads. Well, actually, maybe you won't need that many if I finish the next mission very quickly. I'm certainly gonna need to do that if I want to not have the video go on for so long. There's an hour of footage already. I mean, I didn't record me playing Dark Conflict for that last one. Ah, and someone else knows Dr. Calder as well. A mad genius. Of course, there would have to be at least one mad doctor. I think that's required for every war game ever. I mean, I'm playing a game called Fuga Melodies of Steel, and I just fought a mad doctor, as a matter of fact. Boy, was that fight incredibly annoying. Yeah, I don't mean to go off topic, but that's a really interesting game, and I probably want to do a playthrough of it, but I only have the Switch version. Ah yes, and IDS comes up again. Is this where they explain what the acronym means? IDS stands for Intelligent Defense Systems. Intelligent Systems. Yes. Now, I haven't looked this up again to confirm, but if I remember correctly, Intelligent Defense Systems is called Intelligent Research Systems in Japan, and they might have changed that to Defense Systems so that they wouldn't have the same acronym as the, what are they called, the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS. People know the acronym more than what the acronym actually means, of course. But if they wanted to avoid having the same acronym as the IRS, then it's interesting that they would go with the NRA for the New Rubenel Army, because that's kind of a The NRA is a gun company, basically, in the real world. But then again, the new Rubinel army might have just got that acronym out of sheer by chance, basically. The Calder missile in Days of Ruin is called the Nemesis missile in Dark Conflict. It doesn't have his name attached to it. Which is basically nukes. Lots and lots of nukes. And it seems IDS sold these nukes to both countries in order to make a bunch of money. And then cause an apocalypse, because they're all going to get launched at the same time. Mutually assured destruction. Has anyone played Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker? Because now I could go into an entire tangent about that now. Doctor. Yeah, that was pretty bad. So now, all the more reason to stop Greyfield now, and hey, Waylon's available in multiplayer, how nice. So, Mission 21, Lynn's Gambit. I already don't like the Dark Conflict name, but that's all for this video. The editing is going to be a pain, but next time we will take on a very difficult mission. Assuming I don't absolutely destroy it, because I know this mission is, you can finish it faster than the game thinks you can. But anyways, stay tuned for that. See you later.